Still good morning, everyone. It's still morning in Singapore time. Now it's about 11:35 Saturday morning. Right, so this is an unscheduled live session. Um, so what I'm going to do today is basically um, is to show you how we at ASK Coffee Roastery usually plan a roast. Hi, Erika. Yes, we'll be doing some roasting today. Good morning. Yes, and we have just received the order from right from Smack Singapore. Right, so we're going to do a roasting of coffee for them. Right, so the plan is to roast for their demo at their various outlet at probably Harvey Norman, the electronic stores. This is 25 bags of 250 grams of coffee. The blend that I'm going to do today is actually a blend from two origins, right? Which is from, okay, the idea is this coffee shouldn't be acidic. It should be something that's really smooth, creamy, very good texture, maybe a slight citrusy, more on the heavier body side. I want the milk chocolate and cocoa to pop from the espresso. So, and also it should do very well as a milk-based drink because I think quite a high percentage of Singaporeans, they prefer latte or cappuccino. So this coffee should be the best for that purpose. And we should try not to do something adventurous like brightness and acidity in the coffee. So the two region I'm choosing, right, for this particular blend, I'll be using a certain percentage of Sumatra Mandailing, right, which is from Indonesia. And the other portions will be from a base with Brazil beans, which is Brazil Cerrado. So these will be the two beans that we're using for today's roast. And I'm going to show you how we actually plan the roasting because there will be some wastage due to the evaporations of water uh, that's locked up in the green beans. So I'm going to do a calculations. I have an Excel for it, but I'm just going to do a manual one to show you how we actually do it. Right. Recycled material, I'm just going to use a cardboard. Right. So simple math. So basically, I want to plan to execute. Let me get a marker. Okay, let's use whiteboard marker, right? So I plan to do 250 grams of coffee with 25 packs. Right, so this, let me grab my calculator. 250 grams times 25 packs, right, equals to 6250 gram, right? 6,250 grams. However, the capacity for our roaster is only 5 kg, which means to say that I have to split this into two different roasts. So I'm going to do two batches of roast for today. And the 6,550 gram is the output of the coffee. So in order for me to generate this much of coffee, um, include the wastage due to the evaporation of water from the beans, the moisture that's locked up in the beans. So usually, if we do medium roast, which is the color spectrum, the color of the roast level is usually around 50 to 60, which usually will lose about 15% of moisture level, which means to say I'll be planning to, I'll have to plan for the 15% loss of water. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to use 6250, right? I'm going to divide it by 0.85, so including the 15% loss of water. So if I do a quick math, right? So in terms of the raw beans I'm going to use, I should be using 7.7353 grams of coffee. And these round up to estimate about 7,400 grams. right? So, and this has to be split into 2 batches. So, which means to say per batch, 7,004 divided by 2 is about 3.7 kg. So, which is within the uh, capacity of our roaster. So 3,700, which is 3.7 kilogram of beans. And I'll be splitting these 2 beans into certain proportion, right? I want the body to stand out more. So most likely I'll be using a slightly higher weightage of the mandolin rather than the serrado, right? So the formula I can't share with you, right? So this is the recipe that we use as a roaster, right? So let me prepare the coffee beans and yeah, and just sit back, relax, and see how we do it. So before we start anything, I'm going to power on the roaster. Right, so let's preheat the machine. And our machine is connected to the afterburner. Okay, so I'm preheating the machine right now. Two point. Right, so I've already worked out the coffee beans I want, and next I'm going to get the green beans, right? So maybe I bring you closer. It gets a little bit noisy. So that's where we weigh our green beans. We have a big scale. Right, 2.3. Coffee beans are everywhere. Shout out to Sifo and Erica. Thanks for joining today. Right, so I need how many kg from here? Okay. And there are many different ways to blend the beans together. And I'm mixing these two together before I roast them. Usually, if let's say the altitude is very different, let's say one beans is from Ethiopia and the other bean is from Sumatra. One bean has very high elevation, one bean has very low elevation. So these two beans usually we can't roast together. However, the Sumatra and the Cerrado, they are pretty similar in terms of altitude, in terms of moisture content, in terms of hardness. Hence, therefore, we can pre-blend it, then we roast it together. Right. Okay, this is good. So now the machine is heating up. Okay, now we just have to wait. Right, if you have any question, do feel free to ask. Right. If I can share, I will share with you guys. Yeah, so slightly different. Right. So if you have been following me, you know I started as a home roaster. I use very tiny roasting machines. Okay, still have it in my shop. Right, this is where I start. Let me show you. Right, that is the roaster I start. Right, this is the M2 Sniper, holds about 400 grams of coffee. Right, then when I move to that roaster over there, that's a 1 kg roaster. Right now, this is a 5 kg roaster. Right. Okay. Yep. Shout out to Gwen and MJP. Yes. MJP, where are you from? And Sifo, yes. Which coffee roaster is for home? That depends on how deep you want to go into roasting. If you want to get more serious and beyond the hobbies level, okay, you're in New York now. Okay, hi. Okay, is all your coffee roasted by you? Yes, all the coffee are roasted by me. I'm the only one that's roasting coffee. My staff is still not ready to learn. I'm teaching while my trainee, so-called. Maybe I'll showcase him the next time, right? He's still undergrad students. Yeah. Okay, going back to the topic on the home roasting machines, I find that the anywhere below $1,000 is for hobby, right? If you are more serious and thinking of probably selling your roaster beans, you can go into category which costs between $1,000 to $3,000, right? This category will get you as close to commercial roasting as possible, which means you will be using not the standard profile. You can get to use Artisan software, and you learn how to do the graphing, charting on Artisan. Artisan software is a free software that we use on roasting. The Sniper, Kaleido Sniper uses the Artisan and it's Bluetooth connected so that I can roast the coffee on my laptop with Bluetooth connections. So that's where I learned most of my roasting technique, right? I'm more trained towards the electric kind of roaster and not the gas roaster. And that is actually the roaster I'm using at my shop, which is a electric roaster, not the gas one. Uh, yeah, so it tends to produce a little bit cleaner coffee rather than heavy body, very smoky kind. Right? Usually, gas roaster is capable of producing that. Personally, I prefer something cleaner with good body and balance, and not something that's overly smoky. So that's my personal preference, right? AliExpress has got quite a few, but I think you can seriously consider Kaleido, right? Kaleido is a very good brand. It has been around for quite a few years, right? I think in the US, I think Joe is carrying the just for yourself. Okay. If it's just for yourself, to start off, I have something that's really interesting. Let me see whether it's around here. It's a ceramic roaster. Uh, I don't know where I chuck it. Let me see where can I find. Ah, here. Yes. This looks a little bit funny, right? This serve you really quite well. This is a ceramic one. You can use over stovetop. Put coffee beans inside, and you start shaking. And water vapor will start to come out from the top as well as from here. And you can learn the different stages of roasting from here. But you need to be quite skilled in order to roast evenly on this, right? So this is made of ceramic, right? So this is pretty good for a beginner. And then it doesn't cost a lot, right? It costs, I think, less than $50. And you just need your gas stove. Induction doesn't work. It has to be gas or some thermal transfer plate or something like this, right? Something like this you put over your stove, right? And you put this on top, right? Pretty much the same as what you do for a mocha pot if your mocha pot is not induction capable, right? So put it on top. This will evenly spread out the heat. The heat will not be focusing on one point. So this is better in my opinion. So this is something that's really good to start. And some even start roasting over wok. You get a Chinese wok. Those that wok, right? Yeah, those spherical in shape one. Yep. I'm roasting a blend for Smack. We call it the Smack ASK blend, right? Should be something that's really balanced, low in acidity, slight citrusy. Should be the milk chocolate profile should pop. Should be a very pleasant caramelization. Yeah, so that's the plan for today. Yeah, I have already carried out the calculation just now. If you have missed that, you can watch it later the review, right? Okay, right now I still have time to take some questions, right? Before I have to watch the roast. I think for home use, you can even consider like those uh, the popcorn roaster. I'm not particularly. I think it's a good beginning roasting equipment, but very small capacity. Okay, small batch roasting won't make your kitchen smoky, right? If you roast to up to 800 gram to 1 kg, yes, it does get really smoky. If you go towards the medium dark roast, If you drop the beans at around 180 to 190 degrees Celsius, usually it will not get too smoky, right? But if you pass second crack, which means the beans start to have oil seeping out, that's when it gets really smoky. And I think, I think you will probably, oh, Matt, Matthew, how are you? You are in New York now? I didn't know that's you, right? Yeah. Nowadays, I try to do as many live stream at least once a day, except Thursday, right? Thursday, I'm still thinking of what to do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good, it's good. Yeah. So, Matt is a friend of mine. He has worked in Singapore for a while before moving back to the States. Yeah, he's a very good friend of mine. Yeah, we met in a very interesting way, right? We are like two smugglers, right? We meet at a shady car park. Uh, I think Matt Barista, Breville Barista Pro has got some problem, so I help him sort of dial in the machines. And then ever since then, we become very good friends. Yeah, yeah. So and we are like exchanging things in a car park. Yeah, those are the days. Yeah, very good friend of mine. Yes, I miss my old friend. Okay, let's check the temperature. Right, it's 105 degrees. So later I'll bring you closer to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shady coffee dealings. Yeah. Time has time had passed really fast. I think that was when was that? I think at least 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. I think yeah, time really flies. Yeah, and back then I was parallel importing a lot of Bravo equipments. Uh, yeah, the Bravo Barista Express. Yeah, you left in 2021. Now it's already 2024. Wow, it's already coming to 3 years. My goodness, time flies. Yeah, so back then, before COVID, I started, my coffee business. I started with the Bravo machines because I used to own a very crappy uh, 20 bar machine that I think that the higher the bar rate, the better. Those were the time. I thought the higher bar, the pressure, the coffee machine can do, right, the better the coffee you make. It's very misleading. Yeah. So I think a lot of us beginner that get into coffee, we think that the higher the pressure that the machine can exert on the coffee pot, the better. But in fact, this is not really true. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm preheating the machine to 175 degrees. Right now it's only 120 plus, so still probably got about 5 minutes to go. Yeah, coming back to the roaster, I think you can go on to like air roaster. Air roaster is pretty good. It produces very clean coffee, and it's very easy to clean. It's very easy to manage. Basically, what happens is that they have a heating element at the bottom, and they blow hot air through the heating element, and then they control the hot air, and the entire coffee will flow up and down like a fluid bed, right? The coffee will be blown by the air below, and the coffee will start to jump in a waveform, right? Depending on the intensity of the fan, right? You can actually control the temperature that way, right? I have not used a hot air roaster before. One day I'll get one and try, just for my own explorations. I want to know what kind of tasting note the coffee has, right? Yeah, so hot air roasters typically range around $200 to $300. I think it's in USD. So that's another thing you can consider if you are getting into hobbies roasting, right? Okay. Okay, maybe we should make some coffee while we wait. Yeah. Okay, I'm using this La Pavoni dual boilers. Right, that was sent to me by Smack La Pavoni Singapore. Right, I believe it's a rotary pump machines with dual boiler without the flow control. Right, so this is the unit, and I'm using a DF83 over here. Skywalker roaster. Hmm. I will definitely do a check later. By the name, it already sounds very interesting, right? Skywalker. Huh, okay. I'm a fanatic, Star Wars fanatic. Before I started the coffee business, I started a company doing 3D printing. I did a lot of cosplay props for my customer who go for the Comic Con uh, and all the Star Wars cosplay. Yeah, I built a lot of blasters and lightsaber. Just what do you call that? I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, yeah. There's a particular name for the lightsaber, the holder, right? Yeah. And I've also done a lot of models, printing of those figurines for desktop game. I'm not too sure where you know the Warhammer. Yeah, so I have I've done a lot of printing of all these miniatures from this small to this big, right? Um, yeah, some of them cost thousands of dollars to build, and my customer just pay for it. It's amazing, right? Skywalker roaster. What's the capacity of the roaster at $600? I presume that this price is in USD, right? So $600 is around $800 to $900 Singapore. So the kind of roaster, 200 to 300 gram max. Is it a smart roaster? I do not have my laptop with me. If not, I can check it. Right, we are already reaching 160 plus degrees Celsius. So I think we can focus on the roasting now. Canadian dollars. Okay. What's the exchange rate between Canadian dollars and US dollars now? Okay. Let me on the light. Okay, the beeping tells us that the temperature is already reached at the target temperature. So now I'm actually dropping the beans. This is where I can drop the beans. So now we have to wait. Pretty much from the drop temp, from where we drop the beans, until about 130 degrees Celsius, there's not much we can do, right? It has PID. Okay. I think basically all the smart roasters are usually PID controlled, right? They really can control the temperature in the way that you want it to be. Same thing for the Kaleido Sniper, right? They are also PID controlled. They use an Arduino-based kind of board whereby they modify and then, yeah, it's pretty much similar to the 3D printing technology, whereby the 3D printing controls the heating elements, right, on the tiny little nozzle. But on the roaster, they control the heating tube. So I think the technology is pretty much similar. So in terms of roasting, there's a few milestones. Number one, of course, is your drop temperature. You have to record that. And the next milestone will be what we call the turning point. Is where the bean reaches its lowest temperature and start to rise. And usually I look at that by looking at the RR of the bean temperature. Now it's still negative. The moment it changes from negative to 0 means it has reached the lowest temperature, and that's what we call the turning point. Right, turning point is reached. So I'm actually charting it on my screen. $300. That's a very good price. Yeah, 300 grams, and it costs only 600 Canadian. Yeah, I think in terms of pricing point, I think that's a good price. Okay, now it's going up. So now the next milestone is what we call the maillard process, whereby the beans will turn from green to pale yellow, right? So once all the green bean has turned to pale yellow color, we call this the maillard process, right? It's the yellowing of the beans. And there's one additional point on this system. It's called the cinnamon. Cinnamon is when the yellowing of beans turn further brown, not to the darker brown, the lighter brown shades. And that usually happens around 160, 170 degrees, right? So there's a few milestones we have to chart on the system for the recording purpose. There's no need to monitor the beans at this point of time. Pretty much the entire process now is an endothermic reaction, meaning that the beans are absorbing the heat. We should try to get the heat from the exterior to the interior as quickly as possible to avoid having a situation whereby the outside of the beans is already baked and inside the bean is still green, right? So that's the thing that we want to avoid. Okay, I will turn this camera around so that you can see. Let me zoom in. Right, we are reaching the maillard color. Later on, I will show you the color changes. Okay, let me just remove my camera. You can see the beans are still green in color. Some are already start to yellow. So we reach about 140. And then we have to keep checking the color of the beans right now. It is still a little bit green. That's why we need the LED light here to show us the true color. Right, you can see most of the colors are already yellow and slight brown. So I'll be charting the mallet process now. And the next point is the cinnamon. This is a custom blend designed for Smack La Pavone Singapore. Right, so this is not something that we use in our shop. We may use it in the future, we're not sure. Right, 160 degrees. You can see that the beans are starting to turn slightly darker brown. Hundred 170, right? I think should be reaching the mallet for what do you call the cinnamon color soon. This is already reaching the cinnamon color. Right, and now the next milestone is what we call the first crack. And that's really an important milestone because after that, the real development of the beans start to happen. And this is what the most delicate period whereby we control the development process. You can see the color. Right, the temperature now is 181. Should be experiencing first crack pretty soon. I'm just going to move back a little bit so that you can see the drop later on. First crack is already happening. And now it gets a little bit noisy because I'm going to start the mixer and the mixer fan. A little bit more. still a little bit acidic. Okay, now we have been roasting for about 11 coming to 12 minutes, and that's within the time that we are looking for. Okay, should be pretty soon. It's about 15% developed. So one batch is done. I hope you guys find this interesting. Yeah. Okay, let me look for some defects or some beans that's not so good. You can see this is totally burned. The grade of the coffee is pretty okay. Not much defect here. Okay, crackers, right? You can see this one. It's empty. Right, so this one usually we will take out. Okay, you can see out of the beans here, you see this is different color. So this will take out as well. So have you wondered why your coffee is so expensive? For me, at least for us at ASK Coffee Roastery, I will visually inspect the beans and to take out all the defects as much as possible. I know it's not possible if I do a large batch, but I will try my best to control the quality. You know, can see here. Can see this one? Color is very different. These are the defects. And some beans actually look like this. It's pretty weird. You see the shape of the bean. And because of the shape, it's roasted darker as well. So now we'll wait for it to cool and then we'll do a weigh again to see how much output are we getting. So these are the defects. See this? Weird. Of course, it's not possible to remove all the defects, but I try my best to remove as many as I can. Usually I will take out one handful of beans, and then I'll visually inspect it to see out of this how many of them are defective. If after 5 scoops I don't see any defective beans, which means I'll pass it. And if I ever find again, I'll just do another 5 scoops. It's pretty good. Not much defects. Okay, there's one here. Okay, and the bean has also cooled down. So now let me drop the bean. Now I'll be cooling off the machine to do a second batch of roasting. Okay, let's drop it. As in the empty ones are okay. Usually those are the ones supposed to float. Um, I think let me think about this. Okay, let me just get ready for the next row first. Okay, now I have to cool down the machine. And on our box, usually we have this sticker, right? So just now it was. Oh, I should weigh this before. Okay, let me see what's the output. Okay, 3.2 kg, right? Which is pretty okay. We do about 3.7 and we get about 3.2. So about 500 grams of loss. Okay, now we have to take some more green beans. .3. I can see how dusty it is. Okay, 1.5. Okay. It's like doing a gym work here. All the coffee are so heavy. All right, so preparing a second batch. The empty ones, yep, is usually there's nothing inside. When we see the green beans, we can't really tell. It's only when you roast it, then we realize inside is empty. So those will not give you any taste. I have actually collected one whole cup of it. Right? Maybe I should brew some coffee with this next time to see the taste. So that's about the different origins has a different amount of defects. Okay, so let's keep this, and on the outside, (3.2), yes, 3.2 kg. Today is the 13th. Okay, so second batch. Okay, bean temperature has dropped to 38, so now we can heat it up again. So the same process repeats. Right then, I didn't realize we have been doing live for about close to an hour. So is there any other question you would like to ask? Because I didn't want to bore you with the roasting process again. This is pretty much what I do. I plan, I decide the tasting notes, then I decide the coffee that I want to go with it, because I know the taste of this coffee if I roast them individually, and I have in mind what is the target tasting profile that I want to achieve, and then I choose the beans to go along with it. Sometimes we roast the beans separately, then we blend them together. Sometimes we roast them together depending on the altitude, hardness, the moisture level, and everything. Right. So that's what I do. Okay. Oh, we have our next door. Our next door is a hairdresser, so I can see them doing their hair coming inside. Let me show you. It's pretty interesting. Okay, see through the window, right? Not sure whether you can see. Can you see that? Okay, so second batch, the temperature rise up slightly faster. Right, so pretty much the same process. Right, so if there's no other question, I would like to thank you for joining me. Roasting their hair, you're right. They are chemically roasting their hair. I've never done anything to my hair. You know, my hair, I even cut it myself. The only thing I apply is some hair gel, oh, time's up. right? I have not dyed my hair before. I just style my hair randomly, right? I cut my own hair. After COVID, I've never been to a barber or hairdresser shop. All the hair I cut it myself. Save money, right? I think you can spend a lot of money doing your hair. Makeup too, right? All the beauty products for your face, for your skin. Yeah, right? Thanks for joining. Right, I'll see you very soon. Tomorrow, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do. This afternoon, I'm going to Harvey Norman at Millennial Walk between 3 to 5 p.m. The SMAC and Laugh Out Voting Singapore called me last minute to help them in one of the demo stations. So I'm going to go there and do a little bit of demo. I may do a live there. Let's see how it goes, right? So thanks for joining. I hope you have a good day. Bye.